And as this movie takes place almost 30 years ago in the 90s, hey geeks, welcome to my channel. I'm Trey Guillotine and you're watching Daily Marvels, where I've gathered some of the Marvel news from the past week and put it in one place just for you. Some old villains are returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We find out who the most connected character in the MCU is. And a certain agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is returning to the films. Remember, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it around so others can join in the conversation. There have been some announcements on some of the characters that are going to be featured in Captain Marvel. And as this movie takes place almost 30 years ago in the 90s, we're actually going to be seeing some characters who have already died in the present day MCU. Specifically, we're going to be seeing two villains that we're already fairly familiar with, Ronan the Accuser and Korath the Chaser. No, it's not the Chaser, the Seeker. We're going to be seeing Ronan and Korath, who are the bad guys in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Unfortunately, in Guardians of the Galaxy, we didn't really get a lot of backstory or motivations for Korath and Ronan. They were just very one-dimensional villains, where Ronan was just kind of a warmongering Kree against the Xandarian Empire and the Nova Corps, and then Korath was just kind of his lackey. So hopefully, and this was also kind of just an example of some of the one-dimensional villains the MCU has had a habit of creating, but it looks like they're actually changing that, especially with some of the past villains that we've seen, and hopefully Captain Marvel will give us another chance to really get to know some of the characteristics and motivations aside from what we saw of Ronan and Korath in Guardians of the Galaxy. But I'm curious about why and how we're going to be seeing Ronan and Korath in this movie. We know that Captain Marvel gets her powers somehow from the Kree. Specifically, as I come to understand it, from this Kree named Mar-Vell, who's being played by Jude Law. So it's very possible that we may be seeing Ronan and Korath just in kind of a Kree setting, that they may not be the big villains of the movie, but we may see them because we'll probably see a little bit more of the Kree. We also know that the Skrulls are the big bad of this movie, which makes me wonder, is Ronan also actually going to be a big bad villain of this movie, and it's Ronan maybe leading an army of Skrulls? This isn't the first time we've seen him leading an army that isn't an army of Kree, or technically this may be the first time that we see Ronan leading an army of something else other than Kree, as him leading Thanos' army in Guardians of the Galaxy was just an example of him leading an army that wasn't an army of Kree. So I'm wondering if this will be like one of the first times he leads another army against Captain Marvel or S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Earth or whatever it is that it's actually involved in Captain Marvel, if this will be the first time we actually see that. I'm really excited just to be seeing Ronan and Korath again in this movie, because it'll give us a chance to really kind of flesh out their characters, because I think it was just such a waste in Guardians of the Galaxy. As much as I enjoyed those two characters, it really was just a waste of talent from Djimon Hounsou and Lee Pace, just kind of putting them as these very just one-dimensional warmongering characters, that they were bad guys because bad guys. So hopefully this will be not only just a chance to kind of give another chance to meeting some potentially really good characters, but I'm hoping this will also be just another example of Marvel strengthening the characterizations and motivations of their villains. Recently, Gizmodo's James O'Malley went through the extensive Marvel Cinematic Universe database, or the Marvel database, or the Marvel Wiki, to try and discover what character is the most connected character in the MCU. He did this by going through all of the characters of the MCU's pages and finding all of the links to other heroes and other characters in the MCU that they have. So how every character is connected to another character in the MCU, and he determined that the most connected character in the MCU is Agent Coulson, which isn't a big surprise. Agent Coulson was a huge character and kind of the glue of the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe up until Avengers. He is connected to all of the original Avengers, as well as Nick Fury and just S.H.I.E.L.D. itself. He was even more or less connected to Age of Ultron, since he was the one who restored the original helicarrier that they used at the end of Age of Ultron. Then in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the connections keep coming. He is involved in the origin stories of at least 3 heroes, Deathlock, Quake, and Ghost Rider, as well as doing the same kind of quote-unquote magic or energy manipulation that we've seen in Doctor Strange, and signing the Sokovia Accords like in Civil War, among other of his agents signing the Sokovia Accords in Civil War. He was familiar with many of the Hydra agents that were involved in Captain America Winter Soldier, as well as the President of the United States in the MCU, and he deals with the son of Baron von Strucker, who was one of the bad guys in Avengers Age of Ultron. These are literally just the connections I have off the top of my head, so I'm sure doing that research, I think it would have been pretty obvious that Coulson would have been on top of being the most connected character in the MCU. And it looks like the connections for Agent Coulson are just going to keep on coming, as it has been confirmed that Agent Coulson will also be featured in Captain America back 20 years ago in the 90s. Much like Jeff Loeb said recently, that the issue of Coulson returning to the MCU will be resolved, and it'll be resolved in a surprising way. It looks like this might be that surprising way, because it looks like they're retroactively including or re-including Agent Coulson into the MCU films with Captain Marvel. But this is going to have to be a very young Coulson, maybe even a very green Coulson. We do know that Nick Fury is in the film, and that Captain Marvel is supposed to be his first superhero. I'm even thinking that Nick Fury won't yet be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 90s with Captain Marvel, and that maybe we'll even get some kind of cameo or a small role for Patrick Warburton as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Rick Stoner. But if this is kind of one of Nick Fury's first rodeos with a superhero, I'm wondering how that's going to be for Coulson. Is he going to be just out of S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy? Is he going to be like a very just green agent? Maybe he's just going to be a desk jockey, or still even a cadet. I'm very interested to see what his role in this film is, but despite whatever his role is, I think this is such just a huge monumental moment for the MCU that they are finally, after almost 7 years, having a strong connection between TV and movies. Even if it's retroactive in the 90s that it happened before all of the MCU has happened yet, that this is kind of a retrofitting, but still, I think that it is a big deal. So hopefully this means whatever the disagreement between the studios was, that we are actually finally going to start getting some stronger TV and movie crossovers. And that Captain Marvel will be the first of those crossovers, and hopefully maybe even someday we might even see the Defenders and the Avengers together. What do you think of these Daily Marvels? Let me know in the comments, and follow me on all the internets. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it around so others can join in the conversation. If you want to see my written reviews of Marvel TV shows and movies, go to www.treyguillotine.com, and I'm going to be joining the team at Marvel Cinematic Universe on Facebook, so make sure to go check out the things that I'm posting and what other fans are posting, and join in the conversation there. And make sure to subscribe to my channel to geek out some more. Thanks for watching, and have fun.